So you might be wondering, why did we not make a video about this yesterday? And part of the reason for that is because we had 2 videos already going up on Sunday that revolved around the Ottawa Senators and the Anaheim Ducks, and I was like, I don't want to cater too much to the Sens and the Ducks fans, make everything on the channel for one day based off of these 2 teams, so I wanted to take a little bit of extra time, really digest this topic before making a video about it. Today we are talking about a 2019 first-round draft pick, a guy that was actually good enough to the point that we did indeed make a Why I Want video about him. This was a guy that I pegged as arguably the best shooter amongst all defensemen in the 2019 draft. Now, sure, there were some very good defensemen in this selection of guys. You got Bowen Byram, Mo Seider, Broberg, Soderstrom, Cam York, a few other guys, but amongst this crop of defensemen, I was pretty adamant in my belief that the best shooter, shot for shot, just in terms of being able to fire the puck on goal, get rebounds, and snipe it, was Lassi Thomson, then playing out of the Kelowna Rockets in the WHL. Now, you could revisit the Why I Want video from 2019. It's all there on YouTube. It's from 4 years ago, but Thomson was a guy who was inevitably drafted by the Ottawa Senators in the 19th overall spot. He was a first-round talent who had spent some extra time afterwards playing in Finland. He then spent some time with the Belleville Senators in the AHL, and last season he had 33 points in 56 games played. Pretty good. 2 games played as well for the regular Ottawa Senators team, but this season was really going to be the big change in his direction. Either Lassi Thomson becomes a full-time NHL player with the Sens, or he gets sent down on waivers, which is what happened 2 days ago when we had word that Thomson would actually be sent down once more. Now, yesterday he was claimed by the Anaheim Ducks. They are one of the first teams, if not, I think, the first team in the priority order when it comes to the waiver wire. So the Anaheim Ducks claimed former first-round pick from 2019, Lassi Thomson, on waivers yesterday, and the big question that everybody wants to know is, what the hell happened? Because normally, when it comes to these kinds of videos, I like to look at differing perspectives. I like to see what the Ottawa Senators fans are saying. I like to see what a lot of other fans of other teams are saying. People who aren't really as in tune with the fan base of, the team that we're looking at. And it's interesting here because the immediate outcry reaction that I've been seeing amongst NHL fans in general is, hey, Pierre Dorion, what are you doing? Why are you sending a first-round guy on waivers? What's going on with your team that you don't have the necessary space to accommodate a first-round pick from 4 years ago? You lost this guy out for free. That's a 2019 first-round talent gone in 4 years, and he only played 18 NHL games as a whole. What an L for Dorion. And then you have the Ottawa Senators fans who are looking at the situation and saying, yeah, it doesn't look great to lose out on a first-round pick for free, but with the way that Thomson has developed, with the way he has been placed into this depth chart, it was going to be really difficult for him to find himself a solidified NHL role with the Sens in general. And you could say that's a good or a bad thing because, hey, the Sens, they're not the best team in the world, but they do have themselves quite a sizable amount of defensemen on their blue line, especially on that right side, which would have made it difficult for a guy like Lassi Thomson to really break through. And it's not necessarily like his play the past little while has shown or proven that he belongs in the NHL in the first place. Let's go over to the Sens and their depth chart, see whom they have listed as right-handed defense, or not right-handed, but just right-playing defenders on this team. You've got Chychrun, who can play both sides, Artyom Zub is on this team, Eric Bronnstrom, Travis Hamonic, and Jacob Bernard-Docker. That's 5 guys who can play the right. And add to this Lassi Thomson, who is a right-handed defenseman who is a pretty good shot, who has needed to improve his foot speed a little bit more, and whose overall mobility has been questioned at times throughout his career. Plain and simple, you could say that Lassi Thomson was just not ready for NHL minutes in comparison to all the other guys ahead of him. Sure, in the preseason, this year so far, he's looked pretty alright. but he hasn't really taken that next step to solidify himself and be like, yeah, this is a bona fide 82-game NHL defender. He is ready, he is here, it is now. That has not necessarily been the case, and because of the way everybody else on this team is laid out, it was kind of an expectation that I had been seeing slowly creeping up in Senators discourse the past few weeks that, yeah, Lassi Thomson might just get waived. Not because he's a bad player, but because he's just circumstantially not in the position to play NHL minutes with this Ottawa Senators team this year. And this is kind of why the waiver system is even a thing in the first place, because if you have a guy who could debatably be an NHL player, but who isn't necessarily that just yet, if he gets sent down, he has a chance to go play for some other team that will give him that opportunity instead. Anaheim doesn't really have too many playoff aspirations in the short-term future, and with Trevor Zegras potentially being up in jeopardy, who knows if he gets traded or even re-signed at some time in the next few days, with Trevor Zegras all over there, this team does not really have much to look forward to standings-wise in 23-24. And because you have a whole bunch of other young defenders who are already on this team, some are still developing, some are not going to make the team just yet. We had talked this entire time about how the Anaheim Ducks had 3 of the CHL's Defenders of the Year, the WHL guy, the OHL guy, and the QMJHL guy, all in their system. It's kind of nuts knowing just who this team has in their pipeline, and they added yet another first-round talent in Lassi Thomson to potentially play good minutes this year. The Anaheim Ducks have more to gain out of Thomson playing and developing in the NHL this season than the Ottawa Senators do. He would have had to beaten out other guys in Ottawa that he hasn't beaten out yet, and demanding that out of a guy in one preseason's worth of play has the potential of getting you off to a really rough start. So, in isolation, it sucks that the Ottawa Senators lost out on a first-round talent from just 4 years ago for free. But circumstantially, you could understand that with the names on this team, with who else is already on the blue line, it wasn't really a fit here if you wanted to project Thomson to being an NHL player right now. In fact, there are some more conversations I'm seeing among Senators fans talking about other guys on the blue line and asking the question as to whether or not they're ready too. Jacob Bernard-Docker has apparently not looked the best. You have some other guys that are of course still hovering around in there, but for Lassi Thomson, this was a player that was not going to make it work with the Ottawa Senators in 23-24. Thus, he is getting that opportunity to start his NHL career and really get it going this time in Anaheim. If you go over to the Ducks and their depth chart, see who Anaheim has on their blue line, they have a lot more flexibility, I would say, in comparison to the Sens. Sure, they have Jamie Drysdale, who is supposed to be, let's just say, the best guy on the team on that blue line. You could say Cam Fowler still has that on lock, but, I mean, look, they still need to re-sign Drysdale at the same time, so, yeah, who knows how that's gonna go. But most of these other guys are on their ELCs or making less than $1 million. The only ones making over are Radko Gudas, Ilya Lyubushkin, and that aforementioned Cam Fowler. So with a blue line that includes guys like Jackson Lacombe, Urho Vekanainen, Robert Haig, Colin White, there are more spots available for the taking for Lassi Thomson to potentially become an 82-game guy. Now, does he belong in the NHL for 82 games? Who really knows, but we'll see if the Ducks end up giving him those minutes. For now, though, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Lassi Thomson getting claimed by the Anaheim Ducks on waivers? This was just a guy that developed pretty slowly in the AHL and who never was able to find that grasp of NHL time within the span of his waiver exemption. Now that he required waivers, this was the ultimate prize. A chance with some other NHL team that has a little bit more space on that blue line compared to Ottawa. Thoughts in the comment section below about Lassi Thomson and the prospect profile he possessed. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.